and welcome to another video by Georgia Shed. And today on part 2 of the tank build, I'm going to be making the tracks actually work. Let's get started. Okay, so here are all our parts for the drive part of the tank. So we've got these two side plates, the two drive cogs, and also got this gearbox here. And I'm taking the motors out because I'm not going to be using these motors in the actual final version, because I had two of these already, and then I bought some new ones and they had different motors, so they run at different speeds, so obviously that's not very good for a tank. So one of the first things that I've got to do is I've got to glue these two parts together. And the reason I didn't design this part together is that this part would be very difficult to 3D print and there'd be lots of support and stuff, so it made sense to me just to cut it in half and then just glue them back together. And that also means that I can change one half of the part without having to redesign the entire thing, making it easier. So I'm just going to use some super glue, which should work on this PLA plastic fairly well. There we go. Use a fair amount. And then push it onto there, try not to glue my fingers to it. And just going to keep applying pressure over it until it's dry. Okay, so now this has dried, I can now move on to the next step. So as previously mentioned, I'm using these little gearboxes, and I've taken the motors out because these aren't the motors I'm going to use, but I will use them to test it, which we'll do later on once I've finished assembling it. So for these, how I've designed it for these gearboxes to fit in, a few modifications need to be made. Firstly, what I found, which is really annoying, is that there's a structural weak point in these gearboxes that means that one side of the shaft tends to break, so you can see that this side spins round. So they need to be mounted in a specific orientation. So the side that doesn't break is the side with this little bump on it, but obviously we want these to lie flat. So as you can see on this one, I've cut off that bump, and there's a little metal shaft that sticks out, but if you push it, it sinks into the metal, into the plastic a bit more. And then there's also some of these have like a little tab on the top, but that's fairly easy just to slice off like that. And then the gearbox slots nicely into there like that, and that sticks out there. So this one needs some of the same modifications, so I'm going to start off by cutting off the little bump. And then just using something pointy like this screw, you can push the metal shaft in a little bit more. And also the little clip that holds the motor, that sticks out a little bit, so that helps to cut that off. I mean, they do come with this little plastic clip that holds the motors in, but I'm going to make my own mount or just glue them in, so I don't need to worry about that. So now we can see that both of the mounts fit in there quite nicely like that. So now what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go get the glue gun and I'm going to glue these in. Okay, so here's my glue gun. So now what I'm just going to do to glue this in is I'm just going to put some glue in that little chamfer there between the motor and the plastic, and that means that if I ever want to get these out, I'm not having to rake through loads and loads of glue. but it should be plenty to hold it in. Same for the other side. So I've tried to design this tank to be as simple as possible. So there's no track tensioning mechanism or anything like that. It's a fixed distance, which I found through trial and error, because I've made quite a few prototypes of this. That this is about the right distance for the tracks that I have. So now I'm just going to leave that to dry. Okay, so now our motors are now, well, the gearboxes are now glued in. I can now attach the sprockets or drive gears, whatever you want to call them, and they just slot onto the shaft of each motor. Like that. So there we can see there are both our drive cogs, motors, gearboxes. So now we need to wire them together. So I'm going to be using this wire. This is wire from an old power supply, PC power supply. So the way these motors need to be wired is they need to, I'm going to wire them in parallel, but then they've got to be crossed over because they're in facing different directions. If we just went straight across, then they would both run in opposite directions, and obviously the tank wouldn't move anywhere very fast. So I'm going to use the world's crappiest soldering iron to do this, because my actual soldering iron broke. So just to secure these connections, I'm just going to put some hot glue over them, so there's not as much pressure on the motor terminals. Because on these cheap motors, they can easily get ripped off. And to attach to the other one, I'm going to strip off some of the insulation on the wire to expose the conductor, and then that means we don't have to cut the wire. Okay, so now I've wired up the two motors. I'm now going to test it using this small power supply. And then I'm just going to push another one of these drive gears on, and hopefully these two should spin in the same direction, which they do. So that shows that that is all working fine. So now the next step is to attach the tracks. I've found the best way to attach these tracks is to take one of the drive gears off, put the track onto the remaining gear, making sure it's properly engaged, and then slotting the other one in, and then obviously lining it up with the other drive pin, and then there we go, that is that done. So I've swapped motors. I've just bought some new motors, and the new ones I've bought, the shafts are a little bit smaller, so the tolerances are a bit a bit loose, so I've just put a bit of hot glue into the hole, and that holds them on. So while that's drying, we'll just do another test to make sure that the tracks work. Which they do, so there are our tracks. So now I've done that, we've just got to make another one. And just like that, we've got 2 tracks. So now we can really see the tank coming together. We've now got the 2 main track modules, like that. So then now all I've got to do is make the body and then obviously the controls. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.